How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to PIM Reviews. This is the first episode. Today we're going to be reviewing whatever we want. And today what we want is Heroes and Generals. It's a free-to-play game on Steam. And it was published by Rito Moto. They were the original founders of IO Interactive and Hitman series. I'm not really sure what IO Interactive is, but I really don't care to find out. They have on their Steam page this really quick about this game, which I'm going to go over real quickly, just so in case you guys want to know what it is and you guys can't fucking read. So it says Heroes and Generals is a free-to-play, massive online FPS with strategic multiplayer campaign set in the midst of World War II Europe, where the United States, Germany, and Soviet Union all fight each other for control. The only problem I have with this is the United States and the Russians were allies in World War II. I realize it's a game, and you can make anybody fight each other, but it never happened. The game uniquely merges epic first-person shooter action with a rich strategic layer where your decisions have the power to turn the tide in an ongoing war amongst thousands of online players. Basically, they get into that you can play as a soldier, you can play as a general. The general's command, and there's a mobile app. As infantry, tank gunner, fighter pilot, recon, paratrooper, or general, your actions can turn the tide of a persistent online war fought by players across the world. Now, you don't get to fucking play in the war until you're level 5. And if you're doing what I'm doing, it's going to take a fucking long-ass time. You can buy premium. And get there real fast. But that's just a brief overview. Really quick review. If you're pressed for time, get it. It's free to play, and it's really fun. And it's based in World War II, which is awesome. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. Just stick around, and I'll take you guys into the dashboard. Ooh. Welcome to the dashboard. Here we have the three factions: the Americans, the Germans, and the Russians. Over here we have the badges. I'll just click on that right there. There we go. We have the badges. All the badges are the same for each faction. You unlock them all the same way, and they all help you do something better or more efficiently on the battlefield. Clicking on the rifle here, we go up here all the way to the left. The melee weapons, you actually have to buy the shovel to actually melee somebody, so it's kind of awkward. Here are all of the primary weapons that you can buy. Even pistols count as a primary, so you can't go into the battlefield with a rifle and a pistol. Here are your secondaries, which are all explosives. You can buy any explosive for any faction. It doesn't matter, whichever one you like the most, I suppose. Here's the useless page of useless equipment that no one's going to waste their money on. Over here are the Germans. Of course, the badges are still all the same. I like to run Scavenger because Scavenger keeps me fighting longer. Like I said, your secondaries can all be purchased for any faction for any reason that you want. You just have to unlock it and then buy it. Again, everything's fucking the same. I wish there was a little bit more diversity in the badges in this game. So you have to repair things, and what I don't like is that you have to actually repair the bullets. You have to repair your ammo. If it was like refill, I'd understand that better, but it says repair. And then you have to repair your barrel, your spring, and your trigger, which I understand those things, but you don't have to repair your bullets. You can add a new soldier. The only reason you would want to do this, I think, is to drive the tanks or fly the planes. I'm not sure if any soldier can get into the tank or the planes, but I'm pretty sure you have to have like the pilots or the tankers to drive or fly their corresponding vehicles. You have staged battle and war. A war you can't play until you have a soldier at level 5. Currently, I have my German soldier at level 4. He's almost level 5. And the reason why it's taking me so long to get them to level 5 is because I played this way. Each time, when you have them all selected, it's random which one you go into the battle with. You don't unlock all the maps until you're level 5 either. or rank 5, level 5. So that's pretty much it for all the soldiers. Down here you have your basic notifications to notify you when things happen. You have your chat where you can chat up people and try to find some friends on here so you're not completely bored. Here are the messages that those friends will send you. And here are all the friends you have. None. Alright, and here's your squad, which I'm assuming is the same as a clan. Up here we have generals. Still not sure what you do in here. I'm assuming this is where you will command the battlefields. Scroll out, you can see pretty much all of Europe. And if you scroll down enough, I'm going to hit up here in the search bar. I'm going to go to the first town that comes up. But if you scroll down and you click on the golden circles, it'll show you the players in the game, but it doesn't let you do anything because I guess I don't have a general or an officer. Up here it'll tell me that I need either an officer or a general to participate in this. So it's kind of lame, but that's pretty much it for the dashboard. We're gonna get into the gameplay here, so just stick around and the review will continue. Welcome to the gameplay portion. Alright, so first off I'm going to talk about spawns. Now, to actually spawn in the game and start playing, you have to go through the queue to find a match, and then at the most I've had is 200 seconds that I have to wait before I can actually play. Now, some people might find this to be a good thing, or some people might find this to be a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing. A lot of waiting. I'm not really a waiter. I don't really like waiting. You have to spawn at the main base. The main base is it's a pretty good distance away from the first or the closest objective you can get to, and this is pretty much strictly talking about domination. Like I said before, it's taken so long to get to level 5 that I haven't been able to explore that. So I'm actually going to do another video that goes in depth on the war part of it. I'm going to play war. Hopefully this weekend I can get to level 5 at least, and then I'm going to play war for a week, and then we're going to get into that video. Anyways, so there are some vehicles that you can spawn on, and if a vehicle is within the if it's within the base when you go to spawn on it, you can spawn on it as long as you're queued up to spawn on it, right? But there's also another vehicle that I'm assuming you either unlock and you have to pay for, or you can just outright pay for it using real money. We're going to get into that later. But you can spawn on that anywhere it is on the map. And it kind of gives whichever team has it an advantage if one team has it and the other team doesn't. So next we have sometimes you have to wait to respawn. And this happens when I think that there's too many people on the battlefield, because you'll die and it will say you will spawn when another teammate dies. That's weird to me to think that there's too many players on the battlefield at one time. But again, it's beta. It's also a free-to-play game, so maybe they'll change it, maybe they won't. They don't have to. It's free to fucking play. We're gonna get away from spawning right now. We're gonna move into combat. So the factions from I feel like the best faction to the worst factions are the Germans, the Russians, and the Americans. Now the reason why I say this is that the Gewehr, the German rifle, is really accurate when you're hip firing. It's like pretty much pinpoint when you're hip firing. You don't even have to fucking aim with this thing. But when you go to the M1 Grand, for instance, the American rifle, or the M1 Garand, if you're fucking ignorant, if you're using that, it's worthless. The kick is so bad, and the spray pattern is huge. Moving right along, the Russian rifle is like really in between those, right? So the Russian rifle is pretty accurate from hip fire, but it's also got a bad kick, right? And the thing that I feel like the Russians and the Germans have an advantage over the Americans with is that their rifles can spray faster than the M1 Grand, which it bothers me that the M1 Grand is so bad in this game compared to other games where it's pretty good. American faction able to compete with the other two. I just went over that. The aiming in this game is pretty odd. Now, in real life, when you're aiming down your sights, you want whatever you're aiming at to be right above the iron sights, right above that front sight tip. But in this game, you want that front sight tip to be covering what you're shooting at, and it's really, really hard to aim at things when you're playing that way. Team damage in this game, we're still on combat. Team damage in this game, you can't actually shoot your teammates and kill them. You have to blow them up. You can blow them up with bazookas, you can blow them up with grenades. I think that if you run over your teammate's mine. Now, that brings me to the next thing, which is there's no way to report another player. And like, you can get if you get team damage, you can press F1 and report for team damage, but there's no way to say like, you think this person's cheating, maybe report them, or if this person's purposely killing your teammates, you can't report them for griefing. So I feel like that's a problem. The combat, though, is pretty fun. I really like World War II style games, so the combat is right up there with other World War II games that I played. And then what else makes it fun is the environment in this game. Now, this really doesn't have that much to do with combat, but the environment in the game, you really feel like you're in in Europe, really, right? The terrain and everything kind of matches up with what you would come to expect from Europe. So, and also the environment is the sun will move in the sky, not during the game, but from map to map, and eventually, you know, sometimes you're playing at night, and it's pretty cool because when you're in the game, it kind of feels like a new map. Because the sun's in a different location. Like, let's say, for instance, you're playing Go, and the sun was in the lighting was coming in from a different spot in the sky. It would be almost as if you're playing an entirely different map, because people are so used to where the light comes from that you play with the light. And if it was moved, it would definitely change people's perspective of the maps they're playing. So keeping on with the fun. The ragdoll effect in this game is hilarious. I very rarely see games with such a funny ragdoll effect. Next, we're going to go into character aspects, so things like sprinting in this game. You know, I understand that sprinting can be viewed as overdone, maybe overpowered, whatever you want to call it, but like, unless you have like 200 pounds on, you can fucking keep running for a long time. Unless something is like actually weighing you down. Like, if you're going into combat with a rifle and some grenades, you can run pretty fast and for a pretty long time. But again, it's a game, so maybe they're just, you know, trying to make restrictions here and there to make the game more fair and fun. You jump in this game like you have spring-loaded legs. You just spring in the air. It is crazy how far up you jump in this game. And it's odd to me because it's supposed to be a World War II style game, and I would love to see a video of a World War II battle of people just jumping everywhere, like they have fucking, again, spring-loaded legs. Also, another thing about the character aspects is, like, if you're ever in the game, I don't think I do it in the video, just look down at your shadow, and you'll see, like, an alien silhouette on the ground. The shadows in this game do not mimic the silhouette of a human being. And also, unit collision in this game is
ridiculously frustrating. You can definitely troll another person by just standing in a doorway and not letting them get past you. I know that's like, it reminds me of when people were complaining about what was going on in the Division with people abusing the unit collision. So now we're going to move on to aesthetics. You can join in the middle of a match, which is kind of frustrating. A lot of people don't. Aesthetics are going to be things, before I get too deep into this, aesthetics are going to be things that I think are kind of bad. It's things that really don't matter, but things that bother me. So you can spawn into the middle of a match and be losing horribly. And the thing is, people aren't leaving matches when they're winning. People are leaving matches when they're losing. So when people join on the other team, you're joining a losing team, almost no matter what. I don't like that you have to repair equipment and that your grenades can break in-game. It just gets a little frustrating. This game is definitely pay to win, though. This is something that I have noticed a lot more about games lately, is just the pay to win aspect of games. You can either spend hours and hours playing, or you can spend a bunch of money and get everything you need to play the game and kill everybody because you have the best equipment and the strongest weapons. Yeah, so it's just going to take a really long time to unlock everything in this game if you don't pay for the premiums. Another aesthetic thing that bothered me was, again, the badges aren't different. I realize again that it's a video game and you can save on, development or whatever by making things the same that you can make the same. The badges, though, each faction should have different badges, but that's just a little nitpicky thing. When I first started playing this game, I felt like it was overly dark. I felt like the lighting was it was just odd. It was like they were trying to do this weird noir thing where, it felt like you were watching a World War II movie filmed in the 60s. But it was alright. After you realize that the lighting changes on each map, you get past that part. Maybe I joined in to a game that was either early in the morning or kind of getting towards dusk. So that's about it for the majority of the review. We're gonna go ahead and fade out here, hopefully fade out here, and I'm gonna finish up with my suggestions to the developers. Alright, that'll do it for the gameplay portion of this review. If you like the gameplay, that wasn't all the maps, that wasn't all the guns, that was just German faction, that was just one map. So over the course of the reviews that I do, or the gameplays that I do of this game, I'll hope to get every map and every gun posted. And so look forward to that. So we're going to get into the part of this review where we talk about my suggestions to the developers of the game. Now, the developers can do whatever the fuck they want. I mean, they do a lot of the work. If you give me a second here, I'm going to switch over to something a little bit more comfortable. They're the ones who made the game. They're the ones who make it free. So they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can take these suggestions and not even listen to the video. So basically, I'm gonna just pick one thing that I would change, one thing that I would add, and one thing that I would leave it in. Now keep in mind that this game is beta still, so don't expect things that I like or things that I don't like to either stay in the game or remain unchanged. It's still in beta. So I would change the spawning, mainly because spawning is one of the most frustrating aspects of any game, especially when you have to spawn and run to an objective and then you die, and then you
have to spawn again and then run to that same objective and die. You can try to flank around, but chances are if you're playing against half a competent team, you're going to die again. Now you can grab a bicycle, or you can grab one of the automatic spawning vehicles, but you're going to wind up with the same result. If the other team is halfway competent and they know where you're coming from, you're going to have a hard time winning games. So you can also spawn on vehicles outside of the spawn point. Now, I think it's only one vehicle that you can spawn outside of the spawn point, and this vehicle is very big and very noticeable. And if the other team sees this and it gets left in a bad spot, they could farm it for kills. And I've done it. People on the other team have done it to me. It's really easy to see where the people inside are spawning and shoot them in the head before they can get out of the vehicle. So my suggestion would be that if you own an objective for whatever amount of time they deem is a good amount of time, you can start spawning at that objective. Now, if that's not good enough, if that's too easy or too hard or whatever, you could also have it to where if you have a teammate that is on that objective for longer than whatever the given time is, you can start spawning at that objective. Now, I like that idea because it requires teamwork, it requires communication, and it requires a little bit of dedication and camping. And every game needs a dedicated camper. So the thing that I would add is going to be calm. Now, as it stands, there is a way to communicate with your team, but there's no way to actually communicate with your team. You can type away at your keyboard trying to get these guys to know what you're talking about. Chances are they're not going to read the chat. And you could, your call outs can range from he's at that tree or he's in the building. And when you have to type all these things out, it gets really monotonous and frustrating when you keep dying to the same guy over and over again. So I would either add a proximity push to talk, which I think would be the best solution considering the time period that we're playing in. Shouldn't have any way of communicating that easily with random people around the map. You could also do something like a scroll wheel where you press, like, let's say Q, and a scroll wheel of commands comes up, and you can choose a command from whatever. You can be like requesting orders. You can say enemy spotted, or guess that an enemy's over there, and then there'll be like a little question mark where you guessed it at. Just something to make the comm in this game better. And I don't know what happened there, but finally, the last thing that I would suggest is just leave the ragdoll effect alone. I know a lot of games take out the ragdoll effect because they think it's unrealistic or whatever. Just leave it in. It's fine. It's hilarious. So that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to subscribe, you can. I don't care. If you want another one of these videos, either leave it in the comment or I'll take the likes as go ahead and make another one. So thanks for watching. Tune in next time if you want to find out what PIM stands for.